This gay resident had no family. They were covered in bruises. I saw this person being slapped and punched, and I reported it.
These are actors, but the accounts are entirely real. The stories aren't isolated. There are hundreds of older LGBTQ+ people experiencing abuse in care and hospital settings across the UK. These are the words of whistleblowers working in the sector.
The third time I went to the manager, they said that this person was a perverted criminal and that I should not bother making any more reports. The manager held the same view as the abusive staff.
It was only because of the whistleblowers that a new report out tomorrow, and seen exclusively by this programme, can reveal the widespread abuse of older people. Since 2018, the charity Compassion in Care has received almost 500 reports of homophobic or transphobic abuse to its helpline.
I'm gay, and a few of the staff in the hospital knew. Then a gay resident was admitted to the unit where I worked. Some staff members and a nurse targeted this person. They would seriously assault this person under the guise of restraint. I reported it, but a short while later, rumours started to circulate about me being gay, and the hostility was dreadful. I became depressed and I was signed off work and could not face going back, so I resigned.
I saw one staff member spit on this man while telling him to repent as he was a filthy pervert. Another staff member slapped this man around the back of his head really hard. I reported it, I was horrified. Staff started shouting at me, "Are you a pervert lover? Are you gay?" Nothing was done. I went to the authorities and I left.
I cry most days on the helpline because what we're hearing is horrendous and it's got to stop.
We're in South London, where we meet Eileen Chubb. She's the founder of Compassion in Care and the report's author.
And I think that we are looking at the tip of the iceberg.
She's talking at an event to share its findings, and personal or religious beliefs motivated much of the abuse.
It is a hate crime. I found it quite shocking, to be honest, in this day and age, that that level of hate could exist.
One aspect of what needs to be done is changing attitudes.
It's a taboo thing because you're talking about sexuality of older people. So it's very important to come to events like this and speak and tell people what we're hearing and what needs to change.
A big applause for Ted for doing what he does.
So this is a lovely one of you and Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Ted Brown and his partner Noel were together for 50 years. They spent a lifetime fighting for LGBTQ+ rights. But it was in a care home that Noel was abused.
When you first visited Noel at the home, were there any sort of warning signs?
Well, I do remember a lesbian and a gay man approaching me and telling me that it wasn't a good idea for me to kiss Noel on the cheek or hold his hand in front of staff, because that would be letting people know that we were a gay couple, and that was not necessarily a safe thing to do.
When did you first realise he was being abused?
I went with one of his friends to visit him, and he kept pointing to his stomach. We found a bruise that went from his navel right round to his spine. There was a bruise on his chest where you could almost see knuckle prints.
It was a care worker whistleblower that confirmed Ted's worst fears.
I got a call from somebody because there was a disturbance happening in Noel's room, and she held the phone up. She said, "Listen to this," and I could hear Noel shouting. I was being told by this staff member that Noel was being beaten up.
In 2021, after being moved to a different care home, Noel passed away. Ted was awarded £30,000 in compensation by Lambeth Council, but still hasn't received a penny. It was the first time in the UK a local authority and care home acknowledged the abuse was homophobic. When we contacted the council, they told us they'd fully investigated the allegations and are in contact with Ted on his case. They said they were sorry for the experiences he and Mr Glynn had of care services, adding since 2022, they have been working on a programme to better respond to the needs of older LGBTQ+ people.
I just wondered what it was like for you having to watch a man that you loved being abused in this way in later life.
It was really very, very painful and particularly difficult because I knew that Noel was scared and he was frightened and he had no way of fighting back. And there was no one to help him except me.
Oh, let's look at the Robin bit for a second.
Claire Summerskill is one of today's actors. She's also the writer of a new play, At the Rainbow's End, created primarily to train carers.
I've had times when carers have said,
well, in my country, they kill gay people.
It's based on the real experiences of older LGBTQ+ people. One of the stories belongs to Ted and Noel.
And they asked him,
do you know where you are living? Is this your home or is it somewhere else that you're living in?
And Noel's reply was,
I don't like it here. They beat me up.
Another of the stories in the play, again by real people, called Sylvia and Maggie, is about when they lived in a retirement community, and it turned out that the people that they lived right next door to were incredibly homophobic. We didn't know this, but he persuaded all of them to avoid us. He actually said to new people who came in,
don't have anything to do with those two women.
To be treated like that in your own home.
It really affects you.
Yeah, it finishes you.
The third main story in the play is by a chap called Robin, who's in his early 60s, and he is disabled. He's a trans man.
and once I had a carer saying to me,
isn't what you're doing against God?
And I said, no, what I'm doing is being who God intended me to be. Those people who come in are supposed to be helping me, and they're making me feel bad about myself because of their comments.
You're really kind of in the weeds dealing with very uncomfortable themes writing this play. Has it changed the way you feel about getting older?
Gay, lesbian, trans people I know at my stage in life will say I wouldn't go near a home. I would absolutely prefer to die than go into a home because they know what could be awaiting. We're citizens the same as everyone else, and we deserve to be looked after in later life. And yet many, many people are terrified because they fear that they're going to have to go back into the closet, and that's not the way it should be at all.
Eyebrows are a nice shape too.
With the right training and a focus on inclusivity, care can be a place where you can be yourself.
Oh, that's nice.
2 years ago, at Belong Retirement Village in Wigan, care manager Jill supported Samantha to come out as a trans woman at 69.
She came to us one day dressed up as a lady, looking magnificent as a woman, and said to me, Jill, I want to be known as Samantha. Nice, lovely colour, I love it. You look the part.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? And she asked me, is this what you really want to do? I said, yeah. I said, because I'm sick of hiding from people.
You feel good?
Oh, right.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. That's the main thing.
They're all supportive. Not just Jill, all members of staff.
Twist and curl, twist and curl. We will say to staff that this is how we work. We're open, we're honest, we're transparent, people are people. We don't expect any discrimination. I think that's important to make people feel secure, safe in the environment they live in.
I wish I had done it earlier, like 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't expect them being accepting, to be quite honest.
Acceptance is what everyone should expect, yet many LGBTQ+ people have spent a lifetime fighting to simply be seen and heard, only to find that in later life, some are having to hide who they are.